Hello, and welcome to the Pro Dev Lab. My name is Dave Deese, and I'm your host for this podcast session. I wanted to revisit a session I did not too long ago to talk about Stoicism in the workplace. So I did this as a class, and now what I want to do is share it with you in this podcast. Please enjoy this session. Let me know what you think. You can find me at theprodevlab.com and send me any kind of feedback you might like to share. Enjoy the show. So we're going to define what it means to be Stoic and what Stoicism is. We're going to talk about the advantages to being Stoic and how this can help in work. So what does it mean to be Stoic? Well, the Oxford Dictionary reads, the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint. So when somebody is behaving stoically or as a Stoic, or the practice of being Stoic is Stoicism, and basically meaning just that. Now, it does not mean not to have any emotions. That's not what this is about. It's about being in control of your emotions, recognizing that you are maybe having an emotional reaction to something and how to maintain that. And there can be lots of powerful reasons that you want to do this, which is what we're going to talk about. A Stoic turns every obstacle into an opportunity. So those are the two meanings that I really want to focus on. It's not so much the endurance of pain and feeling. It's about having the emotions, recognizing it, and being in control of it, and seeing every obstacle as an opportunity to practice being Stoic, and practice just not overreacting and being dramatic and making everything emotional, because that can kind of add to the blur of our everyday workday. So practice Stoicism. How do we do that? Well, first, we're not going to take anything personally. Even if somebody is attacking us directly, they're in our face, or even if they're talking about us in a meeting, we don't want to take that personally, because it never is personal. It's always about the person who is complaining, even if it's our manager or who we directly report to, or if we're a leader and someone is yelling or even swearing at us. It's not about us. It's about the topic. It's about what's going on. And we know as a Stoic person to not take those things personally. This person is obviously attacking for a reason. There's something wrong, and we're going to endeavor to find out what it is. But what we're not going to do is overreact. So if somebody attacks us, usually our initial focus is to react to the situation. We're human. That's how we're built. We're actually not wired to be Stoic. We're wired to be reactionary. Okay. Now, in a lot of cases, being reactive is a good thing, but not always. And a lot of times at work, it's not a good thing. We just want to know. So part of this practice at work or in any situation is not to react or be over, especially not overreactive. And then we learn from the mistakes. We're not going to be great at this. We're not going to be perfect every time. I just did this the other day. I'm a huge dog lover. I am like absolutely crazy about dogs. I'm especially crazy about my own dog, of course, but I'm just crazy about them. And I was going into a store, and it was on a kind of a busy road, and there was a dog in the vestibule, the area between the entry and the entrance into the store. Beautiful little bulldog. And I opened the door, and I didn't know where he was. I didn't know who his owner was or anything. So I put my foot in front of him to prevent him from going in the store, because I wasn't sure if he could. Well, it turns out their security guard is who the dog's owner was. And he says to me, You don't put your foot on my dog again. And I tried to explain. I said, I didn't put my foot on your dog. And he started interacting because I was reacting. And it just didn't work out well. We didn't, I don't fight. I'm more passive than anything. But I tried to explain. He was not ready to hear my explanation. I'm sure he's a dog person too. He obviously had his dog, so he was protecting his dog, thought he was protecting his dog. I was too, but what he saw is not what happened. Anyways, I left the store very upset. What I wish I had done was wait for the situation to calm down and try to see if I could explain and say, hey, may I finish my explanation? And if not, that's okay too. But what did I learn from it? I now know to do just that. Not react, not overreact, not get defensive. But now I know, okay, I wasn't perfect. I didn't, I kind of took it personally because I am a big dog person. I would never hurt a dog ever. And I would not normally overreact, but because it was something that I do take personal, taking care of dogs, I had my own dog in the car with me. So I now know. So I learned it. What I'm trying to say is it's not going to be perfect every time, especially if you're interested in practicing this. It's all about learning and doing better the next time. Okay. So how can this happen at work, or how do we practice this at work? When something happens, like the situation I just said, or if my manager comes to me and says, Dave, I think I need to micromanage you, I would take a breath and say, I hear what you're saying. Why do you think that? What makes you feel that that's the kind of management I need? Because typically I don't work well in that situation. Now, that is something that did happen to me. And I told the person, I had a one-on-one, and I said, I don't like to be micromanaged. If it's you feel I need to because I'm not getting the work done, can we kind of focus on that? So what I did was de-escalated the situation. So instead of reacting right away and so on, I kind of took a breath, waited a little bit, asked her to come to meet with me, and we talked it out. And we kind of came to an agreement that her management style and my being managed were not super compatible. So in the meantime, we just kind of worked it out. But I addressed it in a way that as more of a stoic situation, non-reactionary, took the time, de-escalated, and came back to it later. And I didn't blame. So don't blame somebody. I didn't blame her for her management style. I just said I did not work well that way. I'm more autonomous in my work way, want to be part of the team, but let me do the work and let's talk and focus. Kind of brought her focus back to the work. Let's focus on, instead of me doing it how you want me to do it, tell me what has to get done, and then let's judge the work after that. And that is what really ultimately worked. I'm going to read somebody's typing in here, so I'd like to share the comments. I had an experience this week. Somebody said, why would you do that to me? Why did you take those? My reaction was to close my mouth, take a deep breath, and ask the person to expand and ask open-ended questions. Perfect. Very good. To clarify and gain understanding. Perfectly, right? And that's what we mean by not taking it personally. You needed to address it, but you do it in a way that's more of a stoic person at work, practicing stoicism. Close your mouth, like you said, or take a deep breath, you wrote, and asked, what did you mean? Yeah, someone else is saying diplomatic. Very good. Nice. And I'm sure they appreciated it. They may not tell you that they did, but they know that's the kind of person you are. And I'm really happy for you that worked out. So what's the benefit of doing this? Well, it changes the focus to take on the actual problem. Like I had mentioned, in my particular case, focus to the work. The actual problem wasn't me or how I worked. It was the work getting done. And we kind of worked it out. And what I found out was she was a Harry Potter fan and I'm a poet. Now, how does it, Dave, how you're comparing? I'm not comparing apples and oranges. What I do is whenever I write, I'm more to the point. Being a poet, I'm to the point. Short messages to try to get to the point. She's a Harry Potter fan. Everything she likes to read is also how she writes. And she's a project manager. So lots of complicated, long discussion, character development, timelines, and so on. So we just kind of, I actually came up with that analogy that that's how we work. And instead of looking at my work the way she would do it, she looked at the work as I would do it. And we focused on what the customer needed. So we focused on the actual problem. Be the calm one in the room. There's nothing better than being the calm person. I was at an airport many years ago where they delayed the flight because there was a mechanical error problem on the plane. And it was late Friday night and people are freaking out. And I was just sitting there and having my drink and just kind of hanging out. Because between you and me, I don't want to get on a broken plane. I'm okay with not getting on a broken plane. And so, but people would come to me. What did you hear? Why are you? And it was all about because I was the calm one in the room. And I knew what the problem was. Broken plane, not getting on it. It's not worth it. I'm okay. And you will attract the best people to work with you. When you become the calm one, you're going to become recognized for that. And it's going to be great for your organization, your colleagues, your work, the people that you serve, and especially for yourself. So that was Stoicism in the Workplace. Again, my name is Dave, and thanks for being here.